Done.
All right, so today, we will bring you two stories. First one is really the drama on Twitter. Okay, this is literally a reality show, just unbelievable. And so far, actually, I realized that my reporting, has been faster than like Fox News. But today, we'll bring you the most recent scoop.
All right. So, and the feature story, you're going to bring you to California again, where Wayne and Kathy are. But in the upcoming election, which the first time for California primary election on June 7th, and one of the statewide office in California might change hands from the Democrats to Republican for in 50 years. And why is that?
Yeah, so as you can notice that our background has been changed. You don't see San Francisco high rise, behind us.
And no flag either.
Yeah, this is actually a Chinese cultural show of our YouTuber friend who was doing that. The show here is a very popular show and loved by Chinese Americans and also Chinese in China. So we're traveling. Kathy and Wei were traveling, so we are here borrowing his studio and doing this for you. So you got a little special flavor of this type of background, right? But,
right.
We came from China, so it's still valid. Hope you feel so too. All right, let's just move right into today's topic. First, I don't know, with the what is happening today, okay, on Twitter, okay, related to Elon Musk, and are you following it? If you do, can you just type on there, type in the top chat, so that we know that whether you're following it. Just literally, it's a real-time reality show, truly amazing. Okay, let me just bring you the most recent scoop. If you follow the Twitter or the news yesterday, a Business Insider, okay, published an investigative report. All right, and which is done by a guy called Rich McHugh, who was supposed to be a media award winner and a 5-time Emmy Award winner. Okay, so he was an investigative reporter, and then the report has about like 2,000 characters, and it's about 2,000 words. Okay, it's about a SpaceX company jet's flight attendant. Okay, a girl back in the year of 2016, and when she was massaging Elon Musk, and Elon Musk exposed himself and make undeserved demand, and then she turned him down, and then later she was mistreated and by SpaceX, and then she has to quit, and then she found an attorney, and then the attorney just filed some complaint with the SpaceX, and then she sit down with the representative from the SpaceX and Elon Musk himself. So they settled the case, and SpaceX paid her $250,000. All right, to just settle this. And then later she told this to her friend, and her friend wrote a declaration along with a bunch of emails and so-called document. And then somehow Business Insider obtained all those information. So based upon that, Mr. Rich McHugh and wrote that report, which was really a breaking news piece, and which is go viral actually at this time. Okay, so all sounds plausible, and so let me tell you that what is behind, since actually both Kathy and Wei, we are investigative reporters ourselves. Okay, when we see an investigative report, we're always very interesting, and our angle of reading the news is different from other people. Normal people, they read the story, they got a scoop, they say, okay, I got it. Then for us, because investigative reporting is always the most difficult job. It's like the jewel on the on the crown of the journalism. So we always go in and check it. Where they get the news? Where's the source? How valid is the source? What's the supporting evidence? And how valid is the supporting evidence? And what's the detail? Detail shows that the confidence of the reporter. Okay, Detail is important. Okay. All right. So from that angle, let me just share you what I found. The flight attendant, her name is not revealed. Her friend, her name is not revealed. The attorney that she found to file a complaint with the SpaceX, his name or her name, and the firm is not reviewed.
Wow.
All right. Okay. So there's the accompanying emails, document. None of them was reviewed, but in the report. Now finally, you got the settlement document, right, which is very important, $250,000 signed by both sides. And because the reporter said, because of the SpaceX demand that they don't review this to third party, so that was not reviewed. So literally, and then the time, in terms of the detail, this thing happened in late 2016, and then in the 2018, and the settlement was done. There's no clear, month and a date, and a place. So basically that just no detail. So generally speaking, if my investigative reporter came to me with a report like this, I'm gonna say, hey buddy, you really got nothing here. Go back, get more evidence, and then come back again. This is how a general editor would treat and a reporter like Rich McHugh. And then what the reporter will be, what's the result of that reporting? Apparently, general editor or whoever his boss does not, treat the reporter the way that Wei would treat, that as. So the report got published. So there's no source. There's no supporting source. There's no document, and there's no detail. So basically, it's just a vague story.
Yeah, like Patrick in our audience saying a story from a friend, it's a hearsay.
Yeah. So this Emmy Award winner, I really want you guys to remember his name, Rich McHugh, and that we should remember this name. And because to publish something like this, you got to have something, because the only validity would be the name of the reporter, right? Mm-hmm. He would have carried on this. Since I did this, you trust me, so you trust the story, because there's nothing else in the report that is trustworthy. To be objectively speaking, I'm not overstating anything here, okay? From an investigative reporter myself, there's nothing concrete there to support the claim or to support the conclusion, to support the storyline, except the name of this guy. And what was your conclusion? If you don't believe the story, then you cannot believe this guy either. This guy, I would say, lose his name from now on. Okay, but after the report came out, Elon Musk was really mad, okay? And this is what he posted today, what he tweeted today. He said, it was clear their only goal was a hit piece to interfere with the Twitter acquisition. The story was written before they even talked to me. Okay, you got that?
So it means the reporter never talked to him?
Right, no, the reporter talked to him. But he said before they talked to me, the story is already done.
Published.
It's already done. Mm-hmm. It's already done, okay? And then, so then Elon Musk tweeted this today, okay? He said, Tesla is building a hardcore litigation department where we directly initiate and execute a lawsuit, okay? He said the team will report directly to me. He went on and tweeted the following: please send 3 to 5 bullet points describing evidence of exceptional ability. He's asking for evidence. Mm-hmm. And the collection email is called justice@tesla.com. All right, he also asked everybody to do this favor for him. He said, if there's ever a scandal against me, please call it Elongate. Elongate, okay? He said, we got to use Elongate as a scandal name. Okay, it's kind of perfect. I don't know what's the intention, okay, insisting on the Elongate, but it has to remind us about the Russian Gate, right, which is completely a fake thing. And I guess that's he followed the line of that, and the one on the Elongate will receive the same result. He went on and tweeted the following. Okay, hear me out. He said, my commitment, we will never seek victory in the just case against us, even if we will probably win. Okay? And he went on, he said, we will never surrender or settle an unjust case against us, even if we'll probably lose. Okay? Pretty strong, right? And he then said, well, I'm looking for hardcore street fighters, not wide shoe lawyers like Perkins or Cooley who thrive on corruption. Elon Musk said, there will be blood.
Wow.
Wow.
He's on the game, huh?
Yeah, he's really on the game. And then Kevin McCarthy, right, the minority leader in the House of Representatives, actually today tweeted the following. He said, now we're changing topic, but it still has to do with Elon's tweet. He said, Christopher Steele, if you remember, Christopher Steele created the dossier, and Glenn Simpson sold it to the press. Michael Sussman took it to the FBI. Mind you, Michael Sussman is in court, being charged this week, going through trial. And Kevin McCarthy said, and the Democrats and the media lied to you about it all. Okay? So Elon Musk saw that tweet and replied. He said, all true. He went on and said, but most people still don't know a Clinton campaign lawyer using campaign funds created elaborate hoax against Trump and Russia. And it make you wonder what else is fake. And follower of the Elon Musk wrote here. He said, Elon out for blood now. Love to see it. You know how Elon replied?
Yeah.
I'm indeed out for blood.
Wow.
Ha ha ha. So kind of interesting, right? And then okay. And then Elon Musk went on. He said, Sussman himself admitted that billing Clinton campaign to pay for him to present Russia hoax to FBI. And this is not even questioned by the defense. Went on and said, by the way, I donated to and voted for Hillary. So I'm doubly pissed off about those funds being used for lying. Okay, he's talking about the story in the second quarter of the 2015. Okay, when Hillary Clinton came to California, Elon Musk, along with the other California executive CEOs, went out to talk to the press and persuade people to donate money to Hillary Clinton. In that single quarter, Hillary got $8.1 million from California.
Yeah, well, California is always like the fundraising hot place for both Democrats and the Republicans.
So Elon Musk was very mad. He feel I'm pissed off. I donated her money, and she used the fund. She used the fund as to lie, and so somebody tweet this online saying that I guarantee that Elon Musk tweeting about the Sussman is the first time that the vast majority of people on Twitter have ever heard of him, right? And probably John Durham as well. So Twitter has been suppressing tweets about this trial all week. And Elon Musk replied, I only heard about it last month and it was blown away. Apparently, we know about this case much longer than Elon Musk, right? But he heard about that last week. So he went on, he tweeted something like this. Sus, S-U-S, space, man, sus, man. You got the English. If you got the English part, okay, that means suspect. It means suspect. So this Sussman, or Elon Musk called him basically the suspect because his name seems to suggest so. S-U-S-M-A-N. Okay, drop the extra S and drop the extra N. All right, it's just it's just interesting stuff, and so now just think about that. I did not report to you what happened yesterday morning because I assume you already heard it, right? He said I will not vote for Democrat anymore. I will vote for Republican Party because the Democrat Party is the party of division and hate. Okay, that's really just explode. Okay, the media really just report heavy about him these couple of days. So my question to you is this. Elon Musk was very careful and intentionally stay out of the politics. Now he completely changed his position. He's going to the front line. He's setting up a litigation department, and he's saying that he's going to see blood. He's going to do that. All right, it's just very, very strong. And what do you think of the reason? And it's quite amazing, right? The way it goes. And so my answer is this. Okay, in China, when communists was working to take over China, there's this word called 你不找政治，政治找你. Okay, you say I want to stay out of politics, but the politics will find you. The politics will find you because they meant to take over the entire nation. They're gonna touch a lot of people. And for now, they touched Elon Musk. Because he went to buy Twitter, okay, they probably did not move the equivalent amount of fund to counter Elon Musk, but they wrote those report, and the report is only the first one, okay? Elon Musk said that the attack against me will be at another a new level down the road. So yeah, in the Business Insider's report, at the end of it, basically it said, for other ladies, women who are mistreated by Elon Musk, they should come forth. So you're going to see that more things will come along.
It sounds familiar, right?
Yeah,
I think a lot of people, would remember some, like it's for since 2016, right? What happened to the then presidential candidate?
Yeah, so it's very interesting. Elon Musk now he's all about, besides running 6 companies, okay, so he's all in politics right now. Go to the front line. He does not yield. He does not back off. He's very strong. And then, it's really, so in certain sense, in my Chinese show, I told that what happening in America is this. Every normal person will automatically become somebody on the right, even they do not do anything, they do not move. Because, just like the graph Elon Musk posted before, the left people is going to the far, far, far left. Mm-hmm. So every normal American become a right-wing person. So I guess, so is Elon Musk. Yeah, what do you think? Just leave your opinion there on the right, and love to see how hear your voice. Now Elon Musk is tweeting virtually 20 to 30 times every single day, and every tweet is just like a bomb, mm-hmm. right? So I've been following him. I'm doing program in Chinese, and a lot of people follow me, and because of the drama that Elon Musk has been creating. So largely think about that, right? It sounds like just a reality show. Sounds familiar? President Trump, reality show. All right, okay, so that's that. Let's move on to the next topic. Let's see. Okay. All right, if you have any opinion, just left there, and I would like to read that.
Yeah, I think we have some comments. And
Louis wrote that we know 50% of Biden's supporters on Twitter are fake. And what does that say about all the votes he got? Okay, that's a good question. And
James, California said Musk exposed all the robotic fake posts on Twitter. YouTube is the same.
Yeah. So, actually, I want to tell you a side story. Okay, it's a little drama. Okay, but it's very dramatic. A Twitter user, okay, her name is Terrible808, okay? Mm-hmm. She sent a tweet. She said that Elon, so before, before you stand against the establishment, why didn't you raise their accusation against you? Mm. So Elon Musk replied, exactly. And the Terrible was very, very happy. She said, I never been, He said, I never been so racialed in my life. I was very happy. Elon Musk replied to me. And then after a little while, the first tweet about, why, before you stand against the establishment, why did not they, raise accusation? That was hidden by the Twitter. Mm. So you only see exactly, and then the following. So nobody understands what's going on there. So there's other followers of Elon Musk was taking note. They wrote to Elon Musk saying that, do you notice that? Okay, Terrible's first sentence, the important one was that thread was hidden. Mm. Okay, after 8 hours, it came back. So there's a certain how the Twitter user was writing that is probably the Parag, the CEO of the Twitter, right? In the very early morning, because when it came back, it was early morning in the U.S. Western time. Mm-hmm. So he said the CEO become so anxious, and then in the very early morning, and call up someone to unblock that thing because Elon Musk would be his future boss. Mm-hmm. So little things like this, okay? Without following into it and looking into it, you don't know what is happening, but it's happening. A lot of things are happening. And then I don't know whether you heard about the Project Veritas, reporting about the 2 Twitter employees. Very, very shocking, right? So have you heard about that? Just can you post it there? Because I didn't plan to do that because it's 3 days old. The news is three days old. Unless you're interested. So we'll just move on. Okay, how about that, Kathy? Okay. Let's move on.
All right. So I think it's what's gonna bring to you the story. It's a little bit kind of related in some way. Okay, in California, we all know it's deep, deep blue, right? And the most of the statewide office has been held by the Democrat Party for many, many years, especially one post, the state controller, has been held by Democrats for over half century.
Yeah.
Okay, since 1971. But this year time around, it is an opportunity. It's possible that a Republican candidate could take over. So why is that? Going to bring you this story. So, if you, are familiar with the politics of the state of California, we all know that recently the governor announced that the budget actually in California has a surplus of nearly $100 billion. It's huge money, right? However, the California State Controller, on the other hand, is in hot water. I bring you two stories before we move into this year's state controller's race. So I don't know how many of our audience know about the role of a state controller. Actually, Wei the other day was like saying, "Oh,
what is it?
Like how important is it, right? A state controller, what does that do?" So a state controller in at least in California, I think it's the same for other states. It oversees how the tax dollars are spent. Really, and also they would really look at how the tax monies are spent by the legislatures. Do they really spend as they say, and how it's allocated? Who in the state of California get those money, right? So, first story is about. Do you know that California is actually the only state that do not have the transparency of how the monies are spent,
really,
line by line items. Every
the
other
largest state economy in this country.
Yeah, the fifth economy.
There's
right?
no tracing of it.
No line by line.
Wow.
Transaction.
So this is what I
details.
heard. I don't know whether it's true. I believe it's true. Somebody in Washington told me that the federal budget, every cent, you can trace it. I hope that's true, but apparently that's not the case with the state of California.
Yeah, in the state of California, every year the annual budget is nearly $300 billion. Think about that. Mm-hmm. So how was it exposed? How it's reviewed, right? So it has to go back to 2018. There's a California resident called Stephen Childs. He wrote an email, he requested for public information from the state controller saying, I wanted to get all the copies of the checks of the state money that sent to one of the nonprofits. It's an environmental nonprofit.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, and which is based in San Francisco. So then the controller's office replied his email without the data.
Okay.
Instead, what they sent to him was saying you have to pay for $1,250 in order for us to generate the data for you.
Wow.
Think about that. I don't know in any other states when you send, like a freedom of information request.
Right.
Do you ever get an invoice for
you don't.
that?
But that's on the federal level, right? This is
the state level.
Peculiar things about the state
California.
Mm-hmm.
So Stephen Child was saying why, please explain to me. So the chief counsel of the controller's office replying saying that we need to have a programmer to write up computer programs to generate the data you need, and that equivalent to $250 per year. So that's 8 years. You have to pay for $1,250. And the child was replying saying that I still don't understand. Can you, explain to me? And later he said, can you have the programmer to explain to me why you need to write a program to generate the data?
Okay.
So the chief counsel replied saying, our staff is not required under any law to answer questions from the public.
You gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought the Sunshine Act is literally with the Fed and also literally with every single state.
So later, the chief counsel admitted that their office held electronic records and warrant records akin to maintaining a checking account online. That's what he admitted. However, later in December last year, the controller, her name is Betty E, by the way, okay, and in Sacramento Superior Court denied having a checkbook and claimed that the warrant register does not contain vendor information. They maintain an online checkbook, but there's no vendor information, according to the office. So that's why, people are saying, wow, California is the only state in the nation not to produce state spending under open record laws.
That's outrageous.
And so one of the nonprofit it's a government watchdog organization called the Open the Book.
Okay.
It claims that the state government of California has 269,000 employees and have a payroll of $21 billion. Okay, including in the state controller's office, 1,400 employees and a $101 million payroll. He said that alone demands, a transparency.
Apparently.
Right. So, and the open book saying that in 2020, the organization filed more than 40,000 Freedom of Information Act requests around the country, which is the most in American history. And they claim that they captured the vendor expenditure checkbooks in all the 49 states, okay? And but they just don't have it from California.
Really?
So they hired a lawyer last year and to try to force California state to open the state payment records. So how will that go? We have to wait and see. Second story I want to bring with you, hear me out. The current controller, Betty E, was charged for involving into getting a $600 million of a non-bid contract to a two-day-old company. Okay, remember this number: $600 million a contract to a company only 2-day-old.
Newly created for it.
Right. So what's the story behind it? In 2020, in a name of combating the COVID, California State is awarding the contract to this startup medical supply company named Blue Flame.
Okay.
Blue Flame LLC. And this company was co-founded by a political consultant called John Thomas and a Republican fundraiser, Mike Gula, who both of them have no experience in healthcare industry, according to the court documents. So it was later exposed how this company was formed and how the controller Betty E was involved properly. So Betty E and John Thomas, the co-founder, they were introduced to each other by a political consultant, by a fundraiser who's the Democratic Party, and E's political fundraiser. Okay, the two fundraiser, actually the Democratic fundraiser called the E's political fundraiser, saying we want to introduce John Thomas to get to know with Betty E. So after they met on March 20th, 2020, 3 days later, Thomas filed the paperwork forming this company, Blue Flame LLC. Then, just a couple of days after forming this business, Thomas has been contacting E very frequently, asking him to reach out to the Governor Newsom's office regarding purchasing $100 million N95 masks. So, according to the court document, Betty E, within days, was put together in contact with California Department of General Service, which operates, as a business manager for the state.
Sure.
So the lawsuit reveals that Betty E had communicated with the owner of Blue Flame, John Thomas, about, the best way for the state for an upfront payment of $470 $57 million, and how to get the payment wired to the company's bank as quickly as possible.
Okay.
It was exposed that the exchange of the messages between the two, how many of them during the few days? About 150 messages.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
And in one of the message, he even advised Thomas to refrain from disclosing that the company Blue Flame would earn $134 million of profit on the contract because the information could, quote, his words, become a matter of public record and make headlines. So shortly after that, on March 25th, 2020.
2020, you mean?
2020. 2020. Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the state of California cut advanced chip payment for the mask, and the payment was wired to Blue Flame's bank. Then the bank was based in Virginia, and the amount was just too huge, $347 million. And the bank was flagged by the bank saying it could be a fraud, right? So they refused to receive the wire. So that's how this contract went up in flame. So, and then it's the history. So the conceal of his role in the contract during investigation by both federal and state authorities has been cited by many lawmakers as troubling. So right now, even some of the Democratic legislators in California are requesting more investigation. So Betty E has been in office since 2015. So this year she termed out. She cannot run for re-election, but she already set up a fundraising office to raise funds to run for state treasurer in 2026. Okay, so that's the background story. And now we'll talk about this year's state controller's race in California and why it's so important and why it could change hand from the Democrats to Republican after 50 years. So right now there are 6 candidates for this race, and only one of them is a Republican, 4 Democrats and 1 Green Party. But this Republican candidate has surprisingly received endorsement by many media. In one of them is the Los Angeles Times. So, if our audience, if you are familiar with California, Los Angeles Times is pretty much very progressive. And for many years, they have the media has never endorsed any Republican candidates. But back in April, LA Times endorsed Lang Hee-Chang for the state controller, who is the only Republican candidate. So I interviewed a former California Senate Republican leader, Bob Huff. The current controller cannot explain the $300 billion of spending. Let's hear from Bob Huff.
It's unbelievable that a controller whose responsibility is to monitor the outgo, meaning the money, the checks being written by the state, can't account for where this money is actually going. That's why we need an independent voice, an independent watchdog to make sure that our dollars are being spent wisely. But frankly, it hasn't really been that necessary as necessary. When I was in the legislature, we had the Great Recession, which was the biggest downturn in economic activity since the Depression, and we had to make all kinds of cuts. There wasn't spare money. Now, even this year, they have $100 billion or $97 billion surplus. They don't really know how to spend it. But the fact is, whether you're running surplus or you're running deficit, wherever we're writing our checks, they should be going to where they're supposed to go. They should be held accountable to make sure they're spent appropriately. And we should have total transparency to know that that money is actually being spent where the people, where the legislature wanted it spent, and where the people know it needs to be spent.
So how does Lang Hee-Chang react to this issue?
Right now, we don't know. We spend $300 billion a year. Nobody actually really knows where the money goes. And so I believe it is important for us to have accountability for every single dollar the state spends. And as controller, that would be my first priority, would be to give Californians an exact view into how this $300 billion our state spends every year, how that money is actually being spent.
So, people may wonder who Lang Hee-cheng is. He is, right now, he currently is the fellow at the Stanford Hoover Institution. And he, in one of the recent events I covered, he said he's very proud being a colleague of Professor Victor Hanson. So Lang Hee-cheng was born in North Carolina and raised in California. Then he was actually a political appointee for both Republican and Democratic administration in past years. And then later he came back to California. So he has been living in California for 10 years. And he is his parents are actually immigrants from Taiwan. Mm-hmm. He graduated from he was raised in Rowland Heights in Southern California, attended Harvard University, and then he holds a dual doctorate in law and political science. Okay. Yeah, and he is a pretty well-known political commentator prior to this race. Mm-hmm. So Lang Hee-cheng, he shared his observation of California state government during this 10 years and said why he decided to run for this position.
I think one of the things I've observed about California is it doesn't feel like we are spending our money wisely. We send so much tax money to Sacramento. We send literally hundreds of billions of dollars a year to our state government. And unfortunately, it doesn't feel like the money is being spent to address our big challenges. We have a homelessness crisis. We have a public safety crisis. We have roads and bridges that are not in great shape. And it just feels like our state is not solving these problems anymore. So I'm focused on this campaign for controller because the controller is the chief financial officer of the state of California, the person who can be responsible for making sure that the money is spent wisely, that we have accountability for how this money is spent. And that is primarily why I'm running, because I believe it's important for us to have this kind of accountability for our tax dollars to make sure the money is being spent wisely.
So what would be a good controller will do, right? Mm-hmm. And the importance of this role?
For a good controller, the best image of that is a fiscal watchdog, somebody that's fiercely fighting to make sure the money is spent accurately and is accountable.
It's a very important position because it's the one person in state government who can actually go through and tell us exactly what's happening in our state, who can provide audits, for example, of all the different programs, education spending, all the different kinds of spending we have in our state. It's very, very important for this job to be done by somebody who has the right experience, as well as who wants to make sure that taxpayers are the ones who are protected and defended in this state.
Now, we all know California state government has supermajority with the Democrats hold most positions. So how did it contribute to the current situation in the state? And given the fact that the position of the controller in California, as I introduced before, it's being held by Democrats for over 50 years, how a Republican candidate could possibly win the race?
The supermajority in itself, good for the Democrats for having it. The problem is it becomes like a big fraternity or sorority where there's no dissent. Everybody thinks the same way. And if you get a controller from the same group in there, they're not going to hold their buddies accountable if they do something wrong. So that's why you really need an outside voice. I believe the best governance is forged from bipartisan compromise and working out the details. If somebody doesn't like this and somebody doesn't like this, and you find a consensus, you find a middle ground, and you will generally always get better policy and better outcomes when you have this dynamic give and take in the marketplace of ideas. We don't see that now, and that's why Lang Hee-cheng would be an excellent breath of fresh air coming through Sacramento, holding the government accountable for spending the money the way they say they will, and then being transparent to the public so anybody can understand it. Whether it's $30 or $300 billion, we deserve that.
I think it's actually a great time for people who are running as outsiders, who want change, who want to make sure that we do everything we can to bring change to California. I believe now is a great time to do that, and I believe it's a great opportunity for us to do that. I mentioned this office is a watchdog office, so you want somebody who actually politically is different from everybody else in state government, and so I think the time is right, and I think this particular role is right for that as well.
So you may wonder, how does Lang Hee-chen react to the endorsement by the LA Times, right? Yeah, obviously he said he was surprised, but on the other hand, he believes that like the editorial board realized how important it is for an independent voice to really look into the state spending of taxpayers' money. I think even some of the Democrats are realizing, it just cannot be too one-sided.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and it brings out interesting. I will just insert another small piece of news. Is that the trend of more Democrats are switching to the Republicans? Do you know that?
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
So what about it?
Yeah, so that's according to the Nevada Independent reporting. In May, the trend has been like for comparatively more Democrats are switching to Republicans. And in May, and as many as like 4 times as many Democrats switching to GOP as vice versa.
Okay.
And if combined the past 3 months, the number is like 3 times as many Democrats switching to GOP. And there are also independents which switching to Democrats, and the independents or non-preference of party switching to GOP, and the number are also more than switching to the Democrats.
Okay.
So yeah, it's it has a kind of a sign, which also is kind of signaled by the Los Angeles Times endorsement of Lang Hee-chen is the pendulum probably swinging back.
The swing phenomenon. We'll see how that goes. And all right.
So James is from California, right? So James said California is like a Capitol Hill, the clique of corruption. Yeah, I think the problem, people see more and more of that. And I remember seeing James said the Los Angeles Times actually was considered more Republican years ago. And I also see, the discussion on can men have babies, right? It was, it's just, I don't know how when you see the lady was on the hearing, she just, because she was asked, do you believe men can be pregnant? And she was like so firmly say yes. Where's her base? I don't know. What do you think? Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
and the Hollis asked,
the joke. Wow, the joke, the California joke. Actually, originally, I normally tell the joke that created out of, how to say,
former Soviet Union.
Yeah. I mean from China, Soviet Union. So let me just tell you some simple ones. This is from this country. Okay. So basically, we're talking about California, right? So where to find the missing angel? Where to find the missing angel in California? Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. Los Angeles.
Los Angeles, okay.
Ha ha ha. Thank you, Tony. And why is everyone in Northern California so skinny?
Oh.
That's a hard one.
Yeah, it is.
Because this is NorCal, right? NorCal. No calorie.
Oh, no calorie. Okay, that's I think Northern Californians like it.
Talk about how fashionable, California is. So how many Californians does it take to screw in a light bulb? This is a classic one, right? 11, okay? So 1 to change it and 10 to follow the trend. Ha 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 ha. Okay, anyway, I hope that it's a little thing, okay? I hope it's, I have a pass, okay?
Yeah, we hope, the California does, have some change. I think whether you're in, whether you are in the more left or right or middle of the spectrum, just California, a lot of things happening, people just don't think it makes sense.
Yeah, HP moved away, and Tesla moved away. Over 240 big company headquarters move away from California. Okay?
And now Netflix has slashed, cut like over 200 programs, shows, and including those progressive shows.
Yeah.
Maybe they are making some sense of it, right?
Yeah. So,
what do you think?
Yeah, actually, with the most recent, what has been happening, right? To Disney and to Netflix and
CNN
Plus closing down in just 1 month, right? And then
Netflix losing subscribers and
and Ministry of the Truth. Remember that was basically paused after 3 weeks. So it literally
they changed their mission, right?
Yeah, they're gonna follow like a human traffic related to what? Immigrant, something like that. So anyway, so basically that truth of that the Ministry of Truth have had only 3-week life and is now terminated. Now with Elon Musk going after Twitter, right? Mm-hmm. Even he's not. Let's say even if he couldn't or wouldn't buy it in the end, he has already completely exposed, what's really, with Twitter, right? Mm-hmm. The boss and the ratio of the boss is apparently not just less than 5%. So anyway, so a lot of things are happening in this country.
Yeah, I think,
do you take note?
One thing, I normally, do not comment as much as Wei does, but I think I just observed one thing there. Mm-hmm. For example, they established this Ministry of Truth. Mm-hmm. I think the far left, they always try to push, okay? They push, then they will see the reactions, mm-hmm. and they just see how much they can push. Mm-hmm. You don't think they will just stop, because that's what's happening in California when they try to reverse the ban of the affirmative action, mm-hmm. right? And also all kinds of the bills, vaccine-related bills they are pushing right now. They withdrew a lot because of the upcoming election. Mm-hmm. But I was told by many people, you don't just think they thought, oh, there's bad reactions, they will just withdraw totally. Mm. They will try again. They just see how far they can push. Mm-hmm. So on the other hand, for people who do not agree with those agenda, so don't think your voicing out your resentment doesn't count. Mm-hmm. It does count, right? Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's very, very true. And we just have to, I've been reporting, Elon Musk for the last 10 to 20 days. Mm-hmm. Kind of quite amazing. Okay, so Elon Musk says something like this. Actually, there was. Let me just read it to you. I did this in my Chinese show, but it's very important. Okay. So somebody asked this question. It's a very honest question that he asked Elon Musk. He said, just curious. Okay, you have your mission of how to say send humankind to the Mars, and also warn humankind of the threat of the AI. Mm-hmm. So what's the motivation of you becoming so political?
Good question.
And you are becoming a target of them. Do you think it's worthwhile?
For your business.
Worthwhile, for your goal, for your mission of bring humankind to the Mars and bring the civilization there. Do you know what is the answer?
Yeah, what's his answer?
He said, if we don't deal with this woke mind virus, we will not even have a civilization. That's what he said yesterday. Yeah. On his Twitter. So basically, political. You don't do political finds you. Okay, politics. You don't do politics finds you. So that I think that's where every one of us is in. Okay, any normal American have to face it, unless he really just completely, just how to say, put his head into the sand. Facing the change, facing what we are today, that we all have our duty.
Yeah, see, for Elon Musk, we are facing a fundamental problem, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the very existence of the civilization is in danger.
Right. And the book, thank you for your donation.
Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and for all the people that donated to us, thank you very much. And it does take fun to do what we do, and we really want to continue on doing that and bring you the most accurate and updated and the best news.
Yeah, and hopefully it's thought-provoking and you find it helpful. And also we would really appreciate you hit the likes and also spread our videos. I actually was surprised to find that, like yesterday I talked to a friend, not a friend, just, met her in an event, and she wanted to talk to me about more. And then she said, oh, I'm your viewers and I've been just sharing your videos with others. So I'm sure, a lot of you guys in our audience are doing that. So really, really appreciate it. And James in California said he likes the set of this one.
Oh, okay. All right. I pass the word to our friend and the next
time he will lend to us again.
Okay. All right. Great. Right. And James, you also said stay sane and safe and sane.
Yes.
Everyone. Yeah. Same too. Yeah. Pass this to everyone. Okay. Take care, folks.
Have a great weekend.
Yeah. Have a good weekend.
See you next Monday.
See ya.
Good night.
Bye.